This is Shelley Craft coming to you live on SNNLive. We're coming to you live from the LD Micro Invitational 2018 in Bel Air, California. I have with me Ron Smith from Deep Down, symbol DPDW. It's a publicly traded company. Ron, welcome to SNNLive.
Shelley, thanks for having us on.
It's good to have you. Let's get started with an overview of the company, and we'll go from there.
I appreciate that. In 1997, I was working for a large equipment supplier, and one of our number one clients was Shell Oil. And Shell came to me one day and said, you know, deep down, Ron, you're never going to be happy until you have your own company. Hey, you should call it Deep Down. So a week later, Deep Down was formed, and then they announced that they were moving their alliance from the company I was working for another, and that allowed me to continue working with them going forward.
So what is some of the history that led up to where you are today?
Well, I've always been installation-based. We worked where we had innovative ways of getting things in the water. And people had used to say I had a crystal ball and could see what was going on the seafloor. So Shell was looking to moving into deeper water and doing things a little bit more clever. So they came to me to manage all their deep water installations. And Deep Down was primarily a installation management company, but there were gaps of services that were on the vessels, and then we started filling those gaps a little at a time.
So let's get into the market size and what you do within that market so we can get a clear picture.
There are several market analysis groups, and one of them has 65 billion as the umbilical market for the next several years. And we fall within the SURF category, subsea umbilicals and risers and flow lines. And so 65 billion is that market that we're working in.
Now, what is unique about Deep Down in comparison to your competitors?
When you sit at a conference table with $1 billion companies, you're actually working with some very junior people at the project level. When you sit down with a smaller company, you're dealing with senior people. The problem is when small companies don't have the bandwidth to do what the large companies need to do. So our company fits nicely in that in-between niche where we are able to do what the oil company wants us to do, but do it more cleverly because we actually have more experience on the project level.
So when you say, is your company enjoying a competitive advantage over your competitors, how would you explain that?
The most prevalent identifier is when there's an emergency. When Macondo hit and start spewing oil all over the seafloor, they came to Deep Down to look for solutions amongst their large group, and we were instrumental in that. When Shell had an umbilical that was just about ready to corrode away, they didn't go to the original manufacturer. They came to Deep Down to re-terminate the umbilical and save them $60 million. So one of the reasons is I doubt if CEOs at other companies have got 5,000 days of offshore management experience like myself. Our company has managed the company from the field over the years. We were privately held for the first 10 years, and we've been public for the last 11. But everybody in the company works in the field. And you can't help but, with that experience, to have more clever ways of doing things.
What's your background?
I'm an ocean engineer from Texas A&M. I went to work for a company called OTCO, Ocean Drilling and Exploration Company, and I was going to be a part of a new generation of tool pusher. College-educated engineers managing offshore drilling rigs. And through that process, I discovered that the rigs that were coming out of the shipyard were not good for the working man. But instead of whining about it in the field, I sent reports in until they got so tired of reading my reports. They said, okay, smartass, how about you go to Korea and be in charge of the drilling and marine systems for the 2 rigs that we're building over there. Just don't spend any money. But we learned that the shipyard made enough mistakes through the specifications that I could convert deficiency reports into change orders. So I was able to get a lot of our new innovations done there. And then I met a girl over there, and it turns out she was from Houston. So we went back into the oil industry, left the drilling side, and then got involved in the subsea cable business because I was an end user of them on the drilling rigs, and fell in love with the innovations of subsea umbilicals and the installations of them.
So as a public company, only tell me what you can, but what are some growth drivers?
Well, we started growing through acquisitions a few years ago, but we realized that they weren't any clever than us and weren't performing like we needed them to. So we gradually consolidated them, and we've been growing organically. So we'll grow organically as far as we can until we need to team up with one of the large companies that needs to offer the services that we specialize in.
Now, for more information for our investor audience, let's get your website out there, please.
It's www.deepdowninc.com.
Ladies and gentlemen, Ron Smith, Deep Down. It's a publicly traded company, and the symbol is DPDW. I'm Shelley Kraft. This is SNNLive, and we're coming to you live from the LD Micro Invitational 2018 right here in Bel Air, California. Ron, thank you so much for coming on.
Thank you, Shelley.